ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Collider Body Slam Raw Recap. I am one of your hosts, John Rocha, joined as always every week by Pro Wrestling Sheet founder, all-around wrestling god, knowledge god.
No.
And he was, you were sitting for days in LA. So where were you at watching wrestling?
Bola,
hours
Los
of
Angeles.
wrestling.
Yeah, but I think it's like the worst weekend to call me a knowledge god because you probably didn't see because you're not involved too much with the drama on wrestling Twitter, but
I'm not. I try to stay out of it. It's a lot of drama.
I'm taking my headphones off for a second because it's fucking hot.
Oh yeah, let it sink
I gotta,
in.
like air off for a second. I was like, I went to get coffee and now like running around before we started. But no, you'll crack up over this. I went to that Battle Los Angeles. For those of you who don't know, PWG, it's a company out here, indie company, and they run an event every year called Battle Los Angeles. It's basically like a who's who of indie wrestlers, and they're battling it out in a all weekend long tournament to see who the top indie wrestler is at the time. That's largely what when you win, that's kind of what you're considered one of the top indie talents. So I went there, and I'm not super familiar with Lucha Libre. I'm Mexican Puerto Rican, but it's not like I sit and I watch CMLL, even though I think we have AAA and CML available on TV out here.
We do.
But it's always like just listed as just wrestling, so it's always like I don't want to DVR a 10-hour block of CML. Regardless, I have so much wrestling to watch, to do these recaps, to just to cover in general,
run the site.
to run the site.
Yeah.
I don't get to watch every single wrestling company. So over the weekend, I saw a wrestler named Puma King for the first time.
Nice.
Lucha Libre wrestler, who his gimmick is he's basically like a cat.
Yeah.
And he crawls around on the ropes, and he does he's so entertaining. He by far one of the people who stole the show this weekend. Him and this guy named Marco Stunt, the one from All In.
Yeah.
I think two who without question stole the show this weekend at Battle of Los Angeles. But the reason I'm talking about this, and I say it's a bad time to talk about my wrestling knowledge, is because I tweeted saying, I have a new favorite wrestler, and his name is Puma King. By the way, he's also a cat. Something like that. I said some really nice things.
Yeah.
And there were really hardcore smarky types who got mad that I didn't know who Puma King was. And they're like, how do you run a wrestling website and not know who this mid-carder is from CMLL? And I'm like, because I cover WWE. It would be like someone getting mad at you guys at Collider with all the movie talk and stuff for not knowing who a Mexican actor is.
Some independent film. Right.
Exactly.
Mexican independent film.
So I was like so confused by it, and then it became a whole thing on Twitter this weekend where Ian Riccaboni from Ring of Honor, who's the announcer, he was tweeting about it. People like actual personalities in the wrestling industry are tweeting about like how it's okay to not know every single wrestler and blah blah. And I was shocked that it became a talking point this weekend that I didn't know one wrestler in the tournament. I didn't know two, but I'm not going to say who the other one is.
Let me put a positive spin on this. That means there's so much wrestling going on right now. There's so much successful promotions that are functioning now that it is hard to keep track of everybody.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with discovering something new. I mean, this is akin to like an album. I mean, like everyone's talking. Someone finds it and says, "Oh, this is my new favorite." I was like, "Oh, you
listened to that just now? I've listened to that for years. They're my favorite band.
I knew Red Hot Chili Peppers before Crazy Sex Magic. Years or whatever with that. They were great. I used to see them live in L.A. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I get it why fans take ownership of that, but they should fucking relax for God's sakes, because there's so many wrestlers to watch, and there's nothing. And you know what? And people who comment on it should have been thinking out a little more that now you're going to be more in tune with covering this kind of stuff because Puma King laid the hook in you, and that's a positive.
Absolutely. Bola, for years, and it bothered me. This is what bothered me the most about it is, I pay money out of my own pockets to go for fun. I'm not there.
Yeah.
Mark, who runs Collider, he didn't even know that there was wrestling outside of WWE until I told him about it. Like, he cares about me covering WWE. Exactly. He wants me to cover what's on television. This is a television place. So I go to Bola for fun. Yes, I live tweet when I'm there because when I started going there, I liked that people, I noticed people wanted to know what was happening because the DVDs don't come out for a few months. Right. So I try my best to spread spread the information of what's going on, because when I'm not at an indie show, I need to cover it, I look for the people that I can trust who are putting out accurate information that I can put on my website, right?
Exactly.
So I I don't go and research every single wrestler beforehand because I'm not writing about it. I'm just going for fun, and I like being exposed to new talent. And when someone like Puma King catches my eye, then I talk about them more. Then I champion them more. I push for them. I talk about how great they're going to be. Like Bandito, who won the tournament this week. Who didn't win the tournament. He was second place, but was the star of the tournament this weekend. I was like, I came in here, work on Monday, just raving about him to Rocha. So, so I'm sorry to those of you who were mad about it. And I'm sorry to those of you who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about because you only came here for Raw discussion, but I had to get that out. I couldn't wait till Wrestling Sheet Radio on Friday.
No problem,
And
man.
I was actually going to wait till Friday, but then Rocha called me an information god, and I was like, well, not today.
I'm trying to give compliments here. That's how I do. That's how I host shows. I like to pump people up. And
I just knew that people were like, really? He just breezed by information god after everything that happened this weekend?
Well, people we do know about, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman started off Raw here. Reigns came out first, of course. Man, he's still getting the boost. It's so interesting. It never ends.
Nope.
And it'll probably never end, no matter what he does.
You know what's interesting? Because there was that time where they put him with the Shield for a minute and he was getting cheered again.
Yeah.
But I think that has subsided.
The honeymoon was quick.
The honeymoon was very quick.
He needs a Tommy Dreamer match where the fans finally get back in his corner fully 100% like he had it in ECW when he was starting out. So, but Reigns comes out, does his thing, does the promotion, talks about those kind of jazz. He calls out Lesnar, and then Strowman comes out. Strowman comes out, says, I want to kick your butt and all those kind of things. And he should get his hands on Lesnar first, blah, blah, blah. And then Baron Corbin comes out and says, like, oh, no, this is not going to happen. You guys are going to fight. Here's the deal. I wasn't happy with how things ended either at the end of at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And if you don't know what happened to Hell in a Cell, go look it up. That's what happened. Lesnar
since
came
we
out.
didn't do a review,
sure.
What did you think of the ending of Hell in a Cell?
I liked that Lesnar came out. I didn't like that it ended no contest.
I feel like that's the general consensus.
He should have taken that cage door and beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah,
that's what I think he should have done.
And honestly, I don't think it would have angered as many people if all of that happened and Roman crawled over and put his arm over Braun and it ended that way.
Right.
But like everyone was like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
The no contest ending was very frustrating, especially when you see a DQ in a regular match for like a whatever. Like they're. It was dumb. It was dumb to do a no contest ending.
I agree. Yeah, and the argument might be, oh, well, if he chose one over another, then that sets up a linear feud between that person. But no, I think you could have still done what you did in the end, which was Corbin does, is announce that there's going to be a triple threat match between Lesnar, Roman, and Brock Strowman at their Crown Jewel event coming up here in Saudi Arabia on November 2nd. So soon.
Right after Evolution.
Right after Evolution. And we had
smacking you in the face with it.
If you want to hear our thoughts about that, and you hear our thoughts, I suppose, here now, but like if you want to hear our more in-depth thoughts on it, we did a news piece. Ryan Satin and I did a news piece about this announcement and what it means. So
and if you're listening to the audio feed, it's youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. It's like a 10-minute video that we put up where we both talk about how it's a bad look for the company. Going back to Saudi Arabia after everything surrounding the last event, it's just a bad look.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Heyman comes out with that Hell in a Cell door that we just talked about.
Which I loved that.
That was great.
Because I will say, the best part of that ending of Hell in a Cell was Braun kicking the door in and then politely placing it down and walking up the ramp, making a ramp out of it for himself. Like, you didn't need to do that.
No.
But it looked so cool. It was a great visual. So I love that it almost makes me think that that's why they made the cage red, because they knew they were going to maybe continue on with this door thing.
Yeah, and you see the dent in the door as it came out. Heyman does all his stuff, and then they talk. So they do this, that Reigns will defend his title then later against Constable Corbin, which was so... Oh, anyway, I'm sorry.
No,
Ryan, go ahead.
I'm with you. No.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, I'm cool if you're going to put Angle on the sideline, but stop having Corbin put himself in these ridiculous matches. You're still trying to put Corbin over as a wrestler, and nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin.
And I look at it's not. I don't think Baron Corbin's a bad wrestler.
That's not
I don't think that he's at the level that they're pushing him at right now at all. And
he's a lower mid-card wrestler, in my opinion.
And what's bothersome for me is that,
that's my opinion.
No, totally. What I was going to say is that, similar to our conversation where we were talking about the greatest, the Crown Jewel, Greatest Royal Rumble, when we were talking about the two events. Yeah. I just feel like they're. What was the point I was going to make there? I don't remember the point I was making, the parallel between the two. But I don't like that Baron Corbin is being. That's what it was. I remember my parallel I was going to make now is that when I was watching with the Greatest Royal Rumble and Crown Jewel, I reserved judgment until after the Greatest Royal Rumble till after Greatest Royal Rumble was over.
Yeah.
And now that Crown Jewel is happening, I have an opinion on it. I don't think it's I don't think it's something they should continue doing, even though they're making tons of money off of it. I have been reserving judgment on Constable Baron Corbin. I liked the idea. I liked the concept initially. The second they made it so he could book himself into matches, I started to dislike it.
Yeah.
I really started to dislike it when during said matches he could just break the rules, restart the match, and make it do you. I hate that.
Yeah.
Because he could literally. Why wouldn't you be champion if you could just keep doing that? Like, why wouldn't you be champion?
Yeah.
It's stupid that you're not. But I just think at the end it's not compelling television. Like to watch someone continually do that, you're like. It's not even like you want to see him get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, this is just spitting in the face of the logic that I have built for myself while watching this program.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm really unhappy with Baron Corbin wrestling as GM. I think it's a terrible thing, a terrible decision.
Yeah, I did like the promo back and forth. But I will say the one thing that kind of bothered me was Strowman still leaning into. He was getting cheers, so him leaning into saying, you know, Reigns, you suck. Corbin, you suck. And everybody in this arena sucks. I thought it was unnecessary. Like, you don't have to make him go full heel. Like, people are okay with...
He said he could kill Baron Corbin later in the show.
He said, yeah.
I was like, you never hear that on WWE TV where they say, like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
That they stray away from that all the time now. I was shocked to hear him say that.
Yeah.
You know, especially because they're always like, oh, it's for kids and stuff. He's like, I'm going to kill you. I was like, whoa, that's wild. And yeah, I agree with you. They're leaning to it. I mean,
you don't need to.
I mean, the thing is, they're going to make him a heel. It seems like they're not. They're going full force with it here.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're pulling a Becky Lynch at all, where they're going to like maybe adjust.
Yeah.
You know, this seems like they're going full force on Braun being the heel and the Shield are the faces of the show. And honestly, it's the biggest disconnect of when you're watching. I think it's one of the reasons why right now, each week for the past few weeks, I've been coming in here and I've been so down on Raw. I honestly think the return of the Shield, and I said it when they came back, that I didn't think it was going to be good for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has been. I think it has been bad for television watching. I think it's been storyline wise that are convoluted and don't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Even with Hell in a Cell, to me, it felt like they booked themselves into a corner and didn't know how to get out of it. And this was what we got.
Yeah.
You know, why were Dolph and Seth Rollins on the cage?
Yeah.
Why?
No, and it was such a stupid spot because they kept looking down. And they totally gave a tell the whole time. I like when they showed up. I like when they climbed on top of the cage. I thought that was nice and different and interesting. And it gave Lesnar. I mean, it gave Reigns and Strowman a little bit of a rest and breathe. Those are two big guys fighting a Hell in a Cell. 30-minute match is going to take a lot of wind out of those two dudes. So having them take a little bit of break while those guys are all fighting on top of the cage was great. It was when they started climbing down and that spot on the table that gave me nothing because they both kept looking down.
It was it was the most telegraphed that spot has ever been.
If guys in ECW were able to throw themselves all without looking or without do it, like for God's sakes, you're supposed to be the CrossFit King. Do it, Ziggler. You're the whole show. Do it. Don't telegraph it. Don't pull a Cena.
I feel like this is one of the rare cage spots where most people didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm sorry, Dad. My dad called me last night, and I didn't answer because I was in the middle of eating dinner. I literally had just finished cooking dinner.
Yeah.
But he left me the angriest voicemail just about this one spot. Wait, I wonder if you can hear it. Like,
Sure, play it, man.
Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler should be suspended for the worst Hell in a Cell fall ever. That was so freaking ridiculous. That was the end there during the Roman Reigns match. The whole thing was just horribly rehearsed, horribly done. They didn't want to jump. You could tell they didn't want to actually do it. And Roman Reigns could have done his taxes in the ring. They were in there so long waiting. Anyway, okay. I just wanted to vent. That was ridiculous. Bye.
That's great.
I was like, I just finished cooking, and I was like, and then I saw a voice. I was like, a voice, I hope everything's okay. And I listened to it, and I cracked. I was like, wow, my dad was so fired up about that main event. A day later, mind you, that he had to call me and vent on his phone. But I just had to vent. Okay, bye. Like, Dad, I'll call you on my drive home. Sorry.
That's awesome. You got to get it off his chest. All right, Dean Ambrose took on Drew McIntyre after this. So we had set up Corbin and Reigns for later on in the night. Okay, Ambrose took on Drew McIntyre. Ambrose gets bigger by the week. It's a little unsettling. Like it looks a little weird on his frame because his head doesn't seem to be getting bigger, but everything else is. So it's almost like his neck and his shoulders are going to swallow his head at some point.
Well, did you, by any chance, just because I've been so busy, did you see the story? I think it was at the end of the week last week when I put it up, but did you see the story I put up about Dean Ambrose saying that during his recovery that he almost died?
What? No.
Dude,
Why?
it was crazy. So basically, I don't want to get it wrong, but basically I'm going to pull up the story, but basically said that while he was rehabbing, he had that's what it was, staph infection. But while he was rehabbing, so he got the first surgery, and he said that they found a little bit of an infection, but they got it out. And so he went home, he was doing his thing, and he said that, he just, like, something just didn't feel right to him. Like, he could tell something was wrong. So he flew back out there on his own just to get it checked out. And got a checkup, and said that they were like, no, like, this is bad. You have a staph infection. You need to go in for another surgery right now.
Holy shit.
And he said that this was like a few weeks after the first surgery. So this, like, he had finally like started to get the stitches out and like get the bandage off, and he was like kind of like that, and that's when he noticed it was weird. So he went back. So he had to basically start from square one again, which is why it took so long for him to come back.
Yeah.
But he said that in his time away, when that happened, that he was in the hospital and nearly died. He was like, I was like hooked up to machines for a few weeks. I was pooping, throwing up the whole time.
Damn. Like,
it was a whole thing. And then he talked about, prior to his injury, he was tired. Like, he had been on the road for so long that he had been beaten up, that he was just like, his arm was just really hurting, that all that combined made him just like not work out as much anymore.
Yeah.
So then he was like, now I had a mission. Like, I had to come back. And so in the interview, he talks about like all the working out he was doing, and how like it's just like him just now being able to actually work out.
Yeah. Now he's excited.
Yeah. Now he's like pumped to work out. Like, he's doing the extra workout part of things.
I'm sure Rollins has something to do with that too.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
to the CrossFit with me. Anyway, this was a good match. I thought it was a good back and forth between these guys. Good TV match at least.
Yes.
And then I was really surprised it was an actual winner in this. That was not controversial. McIntyre got him straight up pinfall, and that was shocking to me, especially because Ambrose is the one coming back. But you're building up the Scottish Claymore. You're building up that guy, so you got to give McIntyre a rub here. And but I thought it was a good match overall. And I don't think Ambrose actually lost anything by losing here. So this was a good thing.
I mean, I am surprised that they already have him kind of losing clean so quickly after his return. But at the same time, like, as much as I like Dean Ambrose, if you put Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose side by side, and you're like, which one of these guys are you going to push? I feel like right now you have to pick Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre is so hungry. And I know Dean Ambrose is too, just coming back.
But Dean's already been there.
But Dean's, I guess so,
He's been champion. He's been a tag team
Drew
champion.
McIntyre has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants that success that he should have had the last time he was there. And so, Drew McIntyre's wrestling like he wants to be a champion again. As much as I think Dean Ambrose is invigorated since returning, I don't think that he's necessarily wrestling like Drew McIntyre is right now. So I guess it's not that bad to out of all people to have Dean Ambrose lose to so soon after returning. This is definitely not the worst.
That's fair.
That's fair. But it was a good match.
Yeah.
Really good match.
Yeah.
Especially considering there was pay-per-view and all that kind of stuff. It's like you got to come back strong. And so it was a good one to start off with for sure.
Because I like that tag team match at the pay-per-view. I enjoyed a lot of spots, a lot of movement and story within the ring. I did enjoy it actually, and the way it ended, it made sense to me.
Yeah, I like the ending too.
Yeah. Yep. Well, a guy that's also trying to push here, Chad Gable, he came out with Bobby Roode. They did their weird 1990s intro thing, laid promo in the middle of their match type thing that was, I guess it's good. You posted a really funny tweet saying, like, what's in those brownies? And
they had the funniest look on their face.
They did. Everyone was like, "This is the best," and so they took on. Chad Gable took on Victor from the Ascension. Chad Gable got the victory here. It was a little bit of a tighter match than I thought it was going to be, and so it worked out in Chad Gable's favor. But then what's his face came out, and Connor came out right and kind of attacked them both and what have you. So I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know what's happening. Are we going to build the Ascension back up off these guys?
So that was my question to you too.
Yeah.
Did it appear? And I needed someone else's opinion here. Did it look to you like Connor was maybe going to get his own singles push?
Yeah, it looked like they were breaking up a little bit.
It did kind of, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was just me because normally when you see the post-match beatdown, it would be like the tag team doing it. But it was really just Connor coming in pissed off.
He was mad.
Yeah, who was like mad and beat them up. And to be honest with you, look, I think Victor has been entertaining.
Sure.
But there are times when it does feel like a certain member of a tag team is dragging someone down.
Yeah.
And if I had to choose one of those two guys, it's going to be the one who doesn't have the giant bald spot on the back of his head. And I'm not trying to diss on bald dudes, but in terms of like what's going to look tough, the guy with the mohawk is going to look a little better on toys than the guy with the circle thing right here in the back. So, and also, Connor is buff. Like,
Yeah.
Connor's a big, big dude.
And he showed it in that beatdown.
Yes, and he's got, like I said, I've said in the past, when we talk the Fashion Files and Southpaw Regional Wrestling, like, we've seen that he does have charisma, too. I'm super on board with a Connor push.
Right.
Like, they could use more big dudes, big singles dudes, and I don't know if we've said the Ascension has run its course.
Right.
We said it like there's literally they serve no purpose right now.
Exactly.
They have been so watered down on the main roster that they are not a threat. They're not a force to be reckoned with. So I do think that's the only way to really help one of them is to give at least one of them a push before they completely give up on them. And he looks scary. The mouth thing.
Yeah.
I like all that with the paint on his mouth.
Yeah.
I was into it. I do worry that it wasn't necessarily that, and that it was just kind of looked that way to us.
Right.
And they're gonna do an Ascension versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable feud, which that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
and that sounds boring.
Absolutely terrible.
Like, I'm all for Chad Gable getting more TV time.
Right.
But that doesn't sound like good.
Well, I imagine this sets up Connor versus Roode next week. Probably.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Yeah. So it really is probably just not. It's just a weak thing. It's not a push for Connor.
No, it's what they did with Titus and the Arrival or whatever it was that they did the back and forth with Titus O'Neil and Terry Crews. So that may be what we're setting up here. Apollo Crews. Sorry, Terry Crews. I'm sorry. That's right.
That's a mistake you always make.
I do. I apologize. And they look nothing alike, so don't come at me for that. All right. Undertaker came out to address Triple H next. Did his promo. I liked his promo. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was a good, decent promo. And look, the big man ain't going to give you a 15-minute promo. He gave you 5 minutes, talked about the delusional, the broken soul that Triple H is, said that Shawn Michaels is going to be in his corner, and then he announces, he kind of clumsily announced that Kane is going to be in his corner. I thought he would hold off on it and then drop it. He just kind of went in, and I'm going to have my brother Kane in the corner. And I was like, wait. Don't rush the announcement. But then people
like when Jeff Hardy did the intro of the show on SmackDown last week.
Peace out, boys. I don't know. It doesn't excite you for this match.
No, because it's like, well, okay.
But it was nice to see the dead man.
No.
Skills.
It's not so much that I don't care about Kane and the Brothers of
Oh,
Destruction.
right. Fair enough.
It's that it's so obvious
it's
to
10
me.
years too late.
Well, that, one. And two is, to me, it's like so obvious now at this point that Shawn Michaels is coming back at Crown Jewel.
You think so?
You don't think that's what this is all leading to?
Wait a minute. No!
Kane is in his corner, so then there's going to be a thing, and then that's why they did a match they said was the last one forever. That's why they're doing that, to set up that they're going to do the tag match at it they never did, and it's going to be an end of an era again at Crown Jewel, except this time it's a tag match. DX versus the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah.
And he's coming out. Short-haired Shawn Michaels? Who the goddamn hell wants to watch short-haired Shawn Michaels in DX wrestle the Undertaker and Kane? Okay, look, I've been talking about this in the Wrestling Sheet Radio text group.
Yes. Oh.
And we've all been discussing this. If this happens and it somehow leads to an HBK singles match at WrestleMania or something like that against a younger talent, then it's acceptable, But it's just like, that's what HBK is going to come out of retirement for. HBK has been like the guy who isn't the wrestler who comes out of retirement. Like, there's so many wrestlers who just break that rule, and he had such a good exit. He had the best retirement.
Agreed.
The best retirement. It was like when Ric Flair came out of retirement, and you were like, dude, you had the perfect retirement.
You really did.
That's why they don't even talk about him after that.
Yeah.
Like I know he wrestled again at TNA.
Shit. Yeah.
We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
His retirement happened at WWE because it was great,
Yeah.
And I loved Shawn Michaels' retirement. He's my favorite wrestler of all time, and I know that he's not yours.
Yep.
But I know that you feel the same way, that his retirement at least was done well, and he stuck to it. And the fact that just because, and look, I know also at the same time, I know that he's got a family to feed. He's clearly working at the Performance Center because he wants to keep earning money for his family so that he has an easy life. There's only so much your earnings can you can live off of your earnings for so long.
Agreed.
So clearly, the Saudi General Sports Authority is going to dump $5 million at his lap.
Yeah.
All you got to do is do this tag team match for 10 minutes. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, dude. It's just so uneventful, and it's like I'm not. I don't. The prospect of that match just cannot excite me any less.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. So we'll see how it goes down.
But that has to be where they're going, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Now that you look at it that way, right?
Yeah. Shit. Bring Hogan out and fight him
Well,
one more time.
Okay. Since you brought Hogan up, and we ran out of time in the video that we did on YouTube.
Oh yeah, okay.
But the greatest I keep saying greatest Royal Rumble, but Crown Jewel.
The Crown Jewel.
The Crown Jewel event. You don't think Hulk Hogan's coming back for that? You know it, dude. Look at it this way. I remember the interview that I was listening to. I listened to Hulk Hogan's interview on Bill Apter's show or whatever, and After Chat, I think it's called. And he talked about when they first got in touch again.
Yeah.
Was seemingly, without saying it, seemingly sounded like it was around the greatest Royal Rumble time, and they approached him for that. And I remember there were rumors that the General Sports Authority or the Bin Solomon or whatever his name is wanted Hulk Hogan, and they were like, well, we don't have Hulk Hogan right now. But then they have all this money.
Yeah.
And what has happened since Greatest Royal Rumble? They slowly have brought Hulk Hogan back. Yeah. They had him come back and apologize. Now they've announced something called the World Cup, where they're gonna have like they're gonna crown the best in the world or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm worried that my Bobby Lashley thing happens there.
Oh.
We don't know what this World Cup is. Wow. I have two theories. Either what if it's the Bobby Lashley thing that I feared for Royal Rumble, and it's not going to get booed in Saudi Arabia, similar to how Roman Reigns didn't get booed in Saudi Arabia. Right. Or, second theory, that this is my conspiracy theory here, all that stuff all those videos that we did about Hulk Hogan announcing something epic for October 28th, remember that?
Yeah.
And then it ended up just being like a reunion thing where they're going to be doing
NWO,
like a NWO in Orlando at a
Yeah.
convention. What if he hyped up that date because he's going to announce at that show the history making event wasn't this show. It's what he's going to announce at that show.
Okay.
That NWO is coming back for the Crown Jewel. NWO versus The Shield.
What? No. That can't happen. That can't happen. Those guys are way too old. The Shield's going to destroy them, man.
Can it not happen?
Oh my God, you saw them hobbling down at WrestleMania against DX. That was ridiculous.
But, I mean, they put out that thing recently saying that the Shield was the greatest faction of all
true.
time.
It's true.
There's been questions about whether, like, Shield versus NWO. I've seen WWE putting it out there.
Damn it.
That's the conspiracy theorist in me. There's no inside info there, but it seems plausible.
Okay, damn it. You just ruined my whole day.
I know. I'm sorry. These are the thoughts that go through my head.
Sometimes I don't like reading Wrestling Sheet, damn it.
Me neither, man. Me neither, you know?
Dana Brooke came out here with another match, another singles match against the Boss and Hug Connection. Took on Bayley and just lost. But Dana, man, as I was watching this match, I was thinking about you, Ryan, because I was like, what is missing here? Dana has great skills, but her timing in the ring is always off. No matter how many matches, she's always waiting that extra beat. She's always waiting that extra time to do this or that. And it throws off the match in the long run. So, I mean, she is, in essence, a jobber to put other people over. And they're trying to do some kind of mini storyline with her, breaking away from ties worldwide.
Which isn't working.
Yeah, it isn't working. But I like Dana as a personality. And she seems to be a cool person outside the ring. So
I think that's why I was kind of bummed when they took her away from both Titus and Apollo Crews. I thought like she was going to stay with one of them.
Right.
Because it seems like WWE is finally smartening up to that, and we're going to discuss this later, but WWE is smartening up to the fact that they can use some of this talent that isn't wrestling in a managerial role.
Yeah.
These talented people that are good on the mic or just talented personalities, good characters. And I thought Dana was being utilized in the position that she should be utilized in. I don't know if Dana should be wrestling competitive matches. I think, Dana should probably, be a manager. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think that she's, ever going to get, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't think she's ever going to get to the level of some of the other women that especially if you look at the crop of women that are behind her in NXT right now.
Yeah.
When is Dana ever going to get a chance?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So why not use her in a role that she can be utilized successfully in?
It's just that these two have fought in NXT before, I think, and so why couldn't we have gotten an NXT level match? I would have liked to have seen some. There were some moves from Dana that were nice, but also Like that whole knee in the ribs thing that Bayley was doing, I enjoyed that. And her ferocity, her running knee was great. Those kinds of things. But I think if you're going to put people who used to be in NXT in a match at Raw, make them fight like an NXT match. Like make it cool, make it great, make it tight, and make it full of spots so fans get excited. Like they have to fight, but you can make it. You can script a better match. And that's what frustrates me when I watch Dana's stuff.
Well, face versus face though is also always hard.
Yeah,
face versus face is always a tough. And like also at the same time, you have Bayley coming out with all these Connors Cure kids and stuff, and so it's like really you're gonna like choose to like cheer against Dana when technically Dana's like not really a heel. She's
I don't like
a fun personality.
So the Connors Cure stuff.
I don't like it either.
It's a prop that's driving me nuts, man.
Especially on the same show when you announce this crown jewel thing, when it's like, look how great we are. Sometimes,
right?
You know,
Corbin's a heel wearing a Connors Cure thing, a pin on his. I'm like, what is it? What is this? So to me, it's just frustrating.
I like that they're involved and they're trying to do.
Of course,
but I think that there needs to be a separation between television and the internet. You know, you can push those things on social, all that kind of stuff. But but at the same time, I'm not trying to be an asshole because I know those kids. It was a great moment for those kids.
Absolutely. It was nice to what they did. But yeah, Dana. Bayley wins this thing. They hug in the ring. You know, Sasha Banks now on Twitter and social media. Oh, he's my best friend. I want to know this stuff with Graves and Sasha, which has been going on for years now. No matter what side of the fence Sasha's on, face or heel, Graves never cheers for her. Always thinks she's hogging the spotlight. People say this about the Bellas and they're all criminals. But Graves can say this about Sasha and it's okay. What is this crap that goes on here? Like, why do they work stuff out to say this?
Oh yeah,
right. Because Sasha would probably kill him at this point. I would imagine.
No, I'm sure that they're all in on it.
He's always
together.
on her ass.
Oh no, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I listened to Renee on a podcast this week, and she talked about how they're not giving a ton of direction. I'm like, they're giving direction on what they're supposed to say about people.
Please.
Like, come on,
We've seen behind the curtain where Vince is saying stuff to Jerry Lawler and to JR.
Yeah.
So he's not going to tell Renee shit? Come on.
Yeah. I was surprised by that.
You think Renee wasn't getting direction when she was like, she doesn't. Dana doesn't need Titus. Like she can be on her own. She's a strong woman without. And I was like, that's direction. You're trying to promote that storyline. She doesn't need a man. And I get it. It's good. It's a good storyline to promote. But it's all direction. So anyway, I don't know. We can move past it. Drake Maverick and Authors of Pain squashed another tag team.
Pointless.
Totally pointless. Then we had
even the backstage segment where he was like, "Put the guy down." It was like, it's funny, they're we're still not there yet, obviously, but there's one example of manager that's working and one example of manager that's not. You know?
Right.
Which
we'll get to in a second.
And Drake is the one that's not, and it's not on Drake. It's the weird pairing that doesn't quite make sense, and the Leo stuff that just Leo and Bobby Lashley stuff, which as we saw last night, makes perfect sense and is amazing. So,
exactly. We had a backstage promo here with Ziggler being stopped to talk about the fact that Baron Corbin convinced Ziggler earlier in another backstage promo after McIntyre had beaten Ambrose to exercise his rematch clause for the Intercontinental Championship, and then saying that if Rollins can't fight, then he has to forfeit the title to Ziggler in that way. So they set up the fight. Rollins is of course like, they don't call it, he forgets that they call it Monday Night Rollins. What is the name of this show? Because I've heard Monday Night Jericho, KO is Raw. I've just heard I thought it's called Monday Night Raw.
It is.
If people keep changing the name, I'm going to be upset.
Confusion in the marketplace. It's not okay. And there was also a Monday Night Revival for a minute.
Cut it out.
But you know what's weird? We say that, but I see a lot of people that seem to like the Monday Night Rollins thing. Like, when they first made that Monday Night Rollins shirt, I just assumed it was a shirt they made. Right. I didn't think it was going to be something that, he was going to keep doing, and he's stuck with it. He is continuing.
Aaron has that shirt. He loves that Monday Night Rollins shirt of his. My God.
The Monday Night Rollins thing hasn't stuck with me at all.
I don't get it. It's not called Monday Night Rollins. Anyway, so the fight happens. It's actually a decent match, but it was kind of rushed, I think, a little bit.
You've seen them wrestle so many times now.
Yeah, you really have. Even with the injuries, it didn't add an extra element necessarily to the match. Ziggler almost got the victory, but then on a quick move by Rollins, does a smash that he does to stomp rather to Ziggler's face, and then takes the victory. So, just giving him work, I guess, keeping him sharp, that kind of thing, and it worked out in that way. And I would say that the two Ziggler, McIntyre, Rollins, Ambrose matches were the best matches of the night, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and I think it made sense that you have Drew win one and Seth win. So both teams had one person win if you're going to continue on with it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good point. To keep it balanced.
To keep it balanced, leading into Showdown, the Super Showdown or whatever. So, it makes sense to me. I'm kind of hoping the stipulation they add to the 6-man tag at Super Showdown, I'm kind of hoping since the titles are on different sides, you know, like the one has the tag, one's got the Intercontinental and the World title. I'm hoping they do a thing where all titles are on the line.
Yeah.
Where whatever team wins gets to keep all the titles. So if Braun's team wins, Braun takes the world title.
Right.
Dolph takes the Intercontinental title. And they still keep the tag titles or something like that. And vice versa. The Shield will get the tag titles if they win. I think that'd be a good. I think that'd be a good
thing to put in play.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a good stipulation. Although you'd have to take titles off one of them pretty quickly afterwards.
Yeah,
it might get a little too much if the Shield has every title, but I feel like it'd be a fun moment.
I don't disagree. Then we get to this absolutely horrible backstage segment with Ronda Rousey and the Bellas and Natty.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to find me defending anyone in this segment here at all. And I know that you're all like waiting for me to do it. I know all of you. You're waiting for me to defend the Bellas and Ronda Rousey here. I knew you were too.
This is below community college acting. Like, this was so bad. And
I wouldn't say this is the acting. It was more the writing. The writing of this was fucked.
Like, but Nikki was interjecting the whole. No, get it. Yeah, hugs, hug. And I'm just like, this is why you get shit, because you overdo it. Just chill. Bree chills. You can chill. Just chill.
Well, my thing was
Natty's thing was ridiculous.
My thing was more the writing because of what those things. Yeah. Like, dude, when she was like, so I just walk out
What do
there?
I do?
What do I do?
I'm supposedly a fan of wrestling and always wanted to be a champion, but how does an open challenge work? I've never watched one.
That was That was the thing that bothered me. It was like, wait, and I know that Ronda Rousey knows that.
That's the writing.
That was the writing thing where it was like, well, how does one of these old open challengey things work? It's like, you've watched Raw all the time. You know, you watched it for years.
You're supposed to be a student of the game.
You know how an open challenge works. It's very simple. Yeah. You walk out there and you lay the gauntlet down.
Yeah.
You've seen a million of these. Like, it's nothing new. And so, the writing of that bothered me because it made her look so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it made Ronda look dumb.
Agreed.
And then it was like, there's Nikki chiming in of like, well, girlfriend, this is what you do. And then Natty, stopping her and be like, what? This is what you're doing? Well, here, as I'm the veteran, here's this, that, and the other of what you need to do for Rocha. And it was just like, you would never in a million freaking years
guys do that.
You would never have the script the guys to be all like clues, like, done the little twist in my hair.
Exactly.
What is an open challenge? Like that bothered me.
That's what the frustration lies. It's an insult to the women who are involved.
That's how I felt when I was watching. That's why I said the writing. It was the acting wasn't the best, but
that's fair.
There's a lot of bad acting when you watch those backstage segments.
Regardless of gender.
But the writing here was just like, why'd you write them to all look stupid?
Yeah.
You literally, these are like, and the four of them are supposed to be like the pillars of WWE women's divisions right now.
Yeah.
The Bella Twins are like the legends, as they say, which I'm cool with. You're not, and Natty, who I think we'll all agree is.
Yes.
And then Ronda, who's like the new, torchbearer. Or she's taking the torch from them and they're guiding her forward with it.
Yeah.
And you made them all look like idiots. You would never in a million years have Roman Reigns walk backstage and be like, hey, both. How do I go do an open challenge? You would never see that.
You never seen Lesnar do that, who came from MMA and was like, hey, how does an open challenge work? You wouldn't denigrate him like that. So,
never.
Thoroughly agree with that. Thoroughly. It's had nothing to do with gender. It was just stupid to make him look that way.
I was like, why? You just made them all look so dumb, and they all get enough shit as it is.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like you were talking about the bad acting. Like, they're all going to get shit for that anyways.
Yeah.
You did them no favors by being like, oh, we're dumb.
Yeah, running a terrible script. You're right about that. Absolutely right about that. Well, it leads to her walking out, doing the open challenge, looking in the camera, saying all this kind of stuff, giving Alexa Bliss some props, even though she probably concussed her. Allegedly, don't come at me for that. You can see that story on Pro Wrestling Sheet. But then the Riot Squad comes out, dragging Natty. I was like, oh, this is great. Then this is like pseudo NWO. This is female NWO. Love it. Then they came to the ring, and initially Ronda threw them all out and did what they're also scared to fight her. Even Sarah Logan was like, like you could see Sarah going in for them. It was like, please don't hurt me. Like you could just see that. These ladies know this woman can literally kill them both, all three of them. And so then they eventually gang her up, and then of course that's an excuse for the Bellas come running out. Who of course, what happened to Natty? Nobody checked on Natty. She was laying there at the top of the ramp, I guess. Nobody fucking fixed her. They stepped all over her, and kept running down. They said, we need her shot in the spotlight. And they ran down, had the fight, took care of business. Obviously, this sets up what's going down in the showdown. But I thought it was also kind of lame because it would have been nice to see the Riot Squad get the best of Ronda, and then maybe Ronda be like, well, what happened? How come nobody came out to help? Blah, blah, blah. Then that's something you can play with, kind of more of a subtle storyline, complex storyline you can play with there. But either way, it happened the way it happened. They're setting up what's going to happen at the Evolution, I guess, or the showdown, whatever it's going to be, where the Riot Squad takes on.
We don't know who. Is Ronda's match at Evolution announced yet?
No, I don't think so. So maybe this is do you think the 3-on-3 is going to be a showdown thing?
Because it's showdown. Oh wait, no, because it's. Is that who? Oh, that's
I feel like
who
it's
they
gonna be the
already are
Evolution.
fighting at Showdown. I think. Okay, yeah. You're right. Okay, that makes sense now.
It seems
like there's so many freaking shows. It's
I
hard
know,
to kind
really
of track which feud is for which show and stuff. It's
which
ridiculous.
One's the
right
jewel
now.
of the crowns? I don't know.
But it's funny when that segment started. I was watching everything and I was thinking like, oh, Rocha's gonna be pumped that the Riot Squad is getting like a big moment here. And then when all got beat, I was like, oh, Rocha's gonna be pissed. Then I got a shit kick out of him afterwards. Like, because I remember how mad you were a few weeks, or I think it was last week before, when you were like, when you said Ruby should have gone over. So I was like, oh man, Rocha's gonna not like this.
Don't turn the Riot Squad into sanity. That's what they're doing, and that's frustrating as hell to me. Don't make them job.
I did like. Okay, I will say this much. I did like the way they were used in this segment.
Okay.
I liked that they seemed like badasses.
Yeah.
They do seem like a tight unit, which I like.
Yeah, me too.
I like all of that. And like I said before, it's not quite believable that those people are going to beat up Ronda Rousey. So to me, it makes sense to see Liv Morgan become the Alicia Fox of the group and get tossed over or whatever. So I wasn't super against it. The Bella Twins thing was funny to me because it's like, because mainly, and I know that they've since gone in a completely different direction, but when Ronda first signed and they were going to go the other direction with it, and they had the Bella Twins tweeting, talking shit about Ronda, and now you're like, wait, there's kind of this weird disconnect where there were all those tweets when you were like kind of mad about Ronda getting the spotlight for the Royal Rumble, the first women's Royal Rumble. Now you guys are all girls, like all tight like this. So, that part was like, they're coming to save the day was a little funny to me, but I'm a Bella Twins fan and Ronda Rousey fan, so I like them all being paired up together.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush interrupted Elias while he was doing his thing. Then he hyped up Lashley really well, but then there was a back and forth there. Then Owens came out and he got involved in all this kind of stuff. So. And then all this happened. Like, did you enjoy this whole segment?
The Elias segment?
Yeah, the Elias segment and the fight.
This is my favorite segment of the show.
Because Elias won by disqualification. You like this whole segment?
This was my favorite segment of the show.
They're a great pair.
And Lio Rush has been so entertaining on social media.
So entertaining.
And he has come so far from when he first got signed, and he had that incident when Emma got released.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was like, well, he's fucked. Everyone's like, oh, you're never going to see him in WWE. He's fucked. And he's a small dude. Yeah. He's a very tiny dude. But man, he makes up for it with literally everything else. Yeah. And, what I like about Lio, one of the things I like most about Lio Rush is that he took a bad situation like that Emma thing, and he really learned from it.
Yeah, he made it work.
He stopped using social media, and I should take lesson from this. He stopped using social media to react to everything, to feel like he had to have a take on everything, and instead started using his social media as a tool to promote his character. Yeah. And it's something I need to get better with as well. I'm not a character, but I need to get better using social media to promote myself as opposed to having a take on everything. But he really did turn things around by using social media as a tool to get his character over. And he has only been on 205 Live for a short amount of time and shined so much, so brightly that he's now got a spot on Raw. I mean, the GM is one of the only other people who that's happened to. And GM was like, he was hired there strictly to be a personality in this role. And so I think it was so smart to pair them up, to pair up Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. And this segment was proof of that. I mean, honestly, this was great classic wrestling stuff. I mean, him coming out and doing his whole spiel, and then Elias being like, who let someone's kid here? And, and a lot of times we see in promos when someone says something like that, the other person gets shook from it, and they let it get to them, and then like it hinders the Cena, for example. Cena used to always do that. Like I think it was him pointing out Neville's pointy ears. You can never forget about Neville's pointy ears after that or whatever. And it was always like the elf stuff or whatever. So I think it was Cena who did that. But he literally he took it and switched it around. owned it. I was so impressed with him out there. And then not only that, but he got Bobby over well.
Yeah.
He made the segment entertaining. And then when they had him on commentary, we heard him start calling himself a manager, the manager of the hour. We rarely hear the term manager anymore. Paul Heyman has been for years trying to get rid of the word manager and say advocate. We even hear, I think, like with Zelina Vega, it's been like business associate.
Yeah.
You always hear like business associate or partners. I can't even, honestly, unless I'm tripping, and I could be wrong, and everyone's going to point me out, the Puma King scenario all over again. But I can't remember the last time we heard like someone say, I'm so-and-so's manager.
Right.
Like we rarely ever hear that.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was like, yeah, you are his manager. I missed managers being in WWE.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, go get it, dude. And, him talking shit on Owens on commentary. This is another thing where I thought this is good writing.
Yeah.
A lot of times we see this, or we hear someone talking shit, and then the next week, it's like the wrestler who was getting shit talked on him wasn't watching the show.
Yeah.
And they don't know, and they act like they never even saw it.
Right.
It's like, I'm here, Collider. When I come in here, I'm on Collider Live. I then go watch the rest of Collider Live to see if they're going to say something about me. If I was on Raw, I'd be watching to see if other people are making fun of me.
Of course.
Especially when I'm in a feud with someone. So I liked that Leo was talking shit on Owens. Owens heard it.
Yeah.
Came out.
Yeah.
Confronted him, and then Leo got to use his athletic side since he's a manager, he's also a wrestler, and got to show his athletic side by jumping over Owens, running down the rope, going all over like a video game, going up and down around all the wrestlers, and then like Bobby Lashley pulling him in the ring, and then Bobby Lashley using him as a human dart or whatever. All of it. This has been the best use of Bobby Lashley since they brought him back.
Thoroughly agree.
It's crazy to the 180 that this has already made me do on Bobby Lashley, and I was already kind of getting. I was kind of like,
he was working
a little bit here and there, but man, this turned it up all the way, and I'm like, I love this. I'm all in on this. This is great television. And even I liked how Leo is so small.
Yeah.
And not knock on Leo, it's great. I'm a huge fan of Leo's wrestling too. I like that he's so small and Bobby Lashley is so strong that when he went to pick him up again after the fact and he tried to put him on his shoulder, he literally almost launched Leo in the air and then had to catch his legs. And Leo got like in that like reverse Hurricane Rana position where he like lit and then had to like do a sit up to get back up to be like on his shoulders. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Clearly an accident, but it just added to the whole dynamic of their characters. I am all about it. I love it.
This is great stuff.
Great.
This is great stuff.
No more Bobby Lashley talking. Let Leo Rush do all the talking.
Rush should do everything. Let him be off base or off point or off beat with some things, and it's funny and it works, and Rush will make it work. That's the way it should go.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss came out, challenged Ember Moon to find a tag team partner to take on Mickie James and Alicia Fox. She finds Nia Jax. Hey, remember me? She comes back. They have a nice battle here, back and forth. Jax and Moon end up winning and defeating James and Fox by pinfall with an eclipse. The Samoan drop. We got Samoan drop from Nia to end the whole thing. So to me, this was giving these four wrestlers some work. Basically, there was not much to glean from this.
Fast forward a little bit to this
Nia
one.
is back.
I fast forward a little bit to this one.
I
realized I was like, what we're getting from this match is that Nia is back. Cool.
Yeah, and it seems like a tag team. They're setting up a tag team division.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. I mean,
it's gonna happen.
Do you care about Nia Jax coming back? Was it that big of a deal?
No.
For you? It wasn't really for me either. It was like I knew
this is why she doesn't have the belt anymore.
Yeah, and I knew they were hoping it to be a bigger deal than it was. I think, and I was just kind of like.
And I like Nia Jax as a person. I like Nia Jax, what she did, the storyline. If Nia Jax was a little bit better in the ring, I think her and Ronda would be a fantastic rivalry.
Yeah.
It really would be, because if there's one person who looks like can handle Ronda strength-wise and give Ronda trouble, it is Nia Jax. Believably, I mean.
I know that being a wrestler on the roster, you have to be there X amount of days. You're supposed to be part of the roster.
Yeah.
You're a full-time athlete. But I think that we have learned with someone like a Big Show that they should have taken a different approach with him.
Yeah.
I think that Big Show should not have been a permanent roster addition. Ooh. He should have been treated like like an Andre the Giant that was an attraction that they brought out every 6 months as like, oh shit, Big Show's back and he wins or whatever. And I get why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to return on your investment, whatever.
Makes sense, yeah.
But I think that we've seen with someone like a Brock Lesnar where he is valuable to just bring in every 6 months or whatever, or 3 months or whatever for a big event as a big challenge.
Yeah.
Like someone that is like top of the mountain type stuff. You know, I feel like that needs to be Nia Jax. I think having her on weekly, and obviously this is just her coming back, but it does kind of having her just in a boring, random throwaway tag match dilutes her intensity, dilutes her character a little bit, and makes you care a little bit less. Like it's a little less special every time she just has like a throwaway match.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll see where it goes from here, but it seems to be set up a tag team, women's tag team match. So and then we end the night with Constable Corbin versus Reigns. All this stuff going on. It was a boring ass match.
Yeah.
And
I fast forwarded through a lot of it because I was at a protest.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really care about this, and then I just got to the end, which infuriated me.
Yeah, because throws the chair, gets disqualified. Then he says it's a no DQ match. He brings out Strowman, and then Ziggler and McIntyre joined in. But then Rollins and Ambrose came down. It was all a bunch of stuff. Then Reigns beat Corbin anyway by pinfall to retain the title, as if that wasn't going to happen. So this was supremely boring and a very flaccid way to end Raw, and I was disappointed by it completely. I don't know what you think.
I felt the same way about it, to be honest with you. I expressed my disdain for it at the top of this episode, but I really don't like this being a thing. Now it's like the second time it's happened where he's kind of been abusing this, and I'm not feeling it. I mean, and I'm assuming it's going to lead to Kurt Angle coming back and being like, hopefully, you can't do this.
Or Hogan.
Oh, is Kurt Angle's singles match, the one that we haven't got, going to be a crown jewel too, you think?
Oh, God. What is this, Old Timers Day? Well, no, I can want to.
Well, but this guy, apparently, that's the whole vibe of this guy, that he wanted he wanted Yokozuna on the show, who's dead. That was like I recall reading afterwards, and I forget exactly.
What?
Yeah, like
the guy who's put on the cruel.
He didn't even know who Yokozuna was dead.
Wait a second.
Yeah, the Mohammed bin
the guy
Salman,
who's putting it on.
The guy who's like behind all this.
He wants to decide who's on his show.
Oh yeah. They're paying $40 million, Rocha. Yeah, dude. Like he has had that. That's why I was saying with the Hulk thing. And at the last one, I forget who it was, but there was similar things where he was pushing for certain stuff like that. So that's why now I think we're getting Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. I think they did the first one to show like, hey, look at this real money we have, and now they're like taking dump trucks of money to Shawn Michaels, which makes me think if they're gonna do 10 years of this, we're gonna get Austin versus Rock again.
Oh no!
I don't know this, obviously, but where do they go with that? If that's what their vibe is.
The Rock doesn't need that money. The Rock is fine. The Rock does not need that money.
I mean,
Austin might need that money. There's only so many broken skull wrenches and stuff and programs you can do. And I respect Steve very much, but I don't think The Rock needs that money.
I'm just saying, dude.
Good God Almighty.
When they're dropping that dump truck
DX
of money.
versus NWO. There'll be a DX versus NWO match. What a. So basically the WWE is a call girl. It's a high-end call girl. You're paying for this much, you're gonna get this kind of action.
Imagine having that kind of money where you could just pay WWE to then you could like book the matches yourself.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
Well,
I wish I had that kind of money where I could just hand Vince $20 million and then book the show myself.
DiBiase said everyone has a price. I guess it's true. Anyway, all right. Well, that's our Collider Body Slam Raw recap. Really appreciate you guys listening. Don't hate me too much for my thoughts on these things. I just, I didn't feel like being filtered today.
Me neither.
I had thoughts about
same
stuff.
way.
Yeah. We were good to go for that. Ryan, do you want to tell them everything they need to do here?
So if you're listening to the audio of this, go to youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. That's where you can watch the video. You can watch all the other videos that we've been referencing. It's where all our recaps go, lists, news hits, all that kind of fun stuff. youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. Go there, subscribe, helps us out. Also, if you're watching this on video, go check out our YouTube feed, which has other stuff. It's Wrestling Sheet radio feed on iTunes, Podcast One. And there's other shows like Best of the Rest where they talk about indie wrestling. It's Aaron Turner and Rachel Sam Evans. It's a great show, very entertaining show. Also Top 5 with Kevin and James where they talk about some of their top 5 things in wrestling every week. So there's a bunch of fun content on there. And also always, check out ProWrestlingSheet.com. It's at Wrestling Sheet on all social media. I'm at Ryan Satin. And where can they find all the Collider stuff?
You can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, and find all this. We got Collider Gaming Channel rather, and we got Collider Sports. All that stuff's happening. Collider Sports is a separate YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to them. Subscribe to them on Twitter as well, Collider_Sports, and follow their iTunes podcast feed. We just had a new episode of Collider Sports Time. We talked about Week 2 in the NFL, Week 3 college football, the Triple G Golovkin match. I had a special sit down with the Complex Sports editor, Adam, who sat down with me and talked about Adam Caparell, who sat down and talked with me about the Triple G Golovkin. We kind of analyzed this match match and see where it leads to for both of these fighters. That you find that as a separate episode. They're a 20-minute conversation. Really fun stuff. So there's all kinds of content coming down through Collider Sports Time. There'll be interviews with former stars and the league. We're lining up stuff like that. So go and subscribe to Collider Sports on the YouTube channel and the podcast feed. You get all that content there. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching another episode of Collider Body Slam Raw Recap. We'll be back. Well, I won't be back tomorrow, but Ryan will be back in some form. I've got surgery tomorrow, and hopefully I'll survive and I don't get a staph infection, for God's sakes. But I'll definitely be back next week to talk some more wrestling with you guys. Thanks everybody for watching this week. Ryan, thanks so much, and we will talk to you next time on Collider Body Slam Raw Recap.
ProWrestlingSheet.com